Good afternoon, everybody. Happy New Year to all of you guys and your family. May this be a wonderful 2024 for the entire community and everybody here. Thank you so much for coming out to our presentation along with Michelle. This will be brief. I'm just going to touch base on some minor things, and if you're more than welcome to give me some questions at the end. Just to start off, we are committed to providing a safe and secure living environment for all residents within our community. This monthly security report aims to inform and update our community members on various aspects of security and safety. We will discuss concerns related to resident credentials when using the guest lane, enforcement of citations within our community, and reporting violations, as well as providing an update on homeless issues outside of the community that are being handled by Banning Police Department. Guest lane credential checks. We take security of our community seriously. As part of our ongoing efforts to maintain a safe environment, our security personnel have been diligently checking residents and guests' credentials when using the guest lane. Not the resident lane, the guest lane, which is the one that has a window, folks. This is an important measure to ensure that only authorized individuals and their guests are gaining access to our community. We appreciate all residents' cooperation in presenting a valid Sunlinks ID card when using the guest lanes, as this contributes to the overall security of the community. Gate officers are not honoring a Sunlinks Country Club vehicle tag as a form of ID. Those tags can be easily transferred to another person should you sell your vehicle. That could just be used as fraudulent to gain access into the community. So if you do sell your cars, remove any decal that's related to Sunlinks if you don't want them gaining access. Transponders will be deactivated as well, which means that they won't be able to gain access through the resident lanes. We are enforcing citations. Over the past month, there has been a significant focus on enforcing community regulations, and this includes addressing issues such as unauthorized parking, improper use of common areas, and other violations that impact the safety and quality of all residents. We'd like to remind all residents that citations are being issued for violations, and we ask for the cooperation in adhering to the community rules. Such violations include expired gate passes, non-visible disabled placards, and unauthorized golf cart parking. We are out there, folks. We're going to make sure that those enforcements are coming through. If we issue a citation in error, feel free to bring it into my station. I'll be more than happy to look over it. I tend to be a fair guy. If my guys did something wrong, we'll take care of the citation for you and we'll void it out. Reporting violations. Your active involvement is essential in maintaining a safe and secure community. Residents are encouraged to call us directly to report any violators or concerns. This includes incidents such as suspicious activity, safety hazards, or breaches within the community guidelines and rules. Your vigilance and willingness to report issues contribute significantly to the safety and well-being of our community. You're more than welcome to report violations and concerns at the 951 area code 845-2163 number. That's the number that makes that leads straight to the gate office, the front office. I'm sorry. It's a 951-845-2163. A dispatcher will answer that, and we'll dispatch any officers depending on where you guys need us at. Okay. Homeless issues outside of Sunlinks. We are aware of the concerns related to homeless issues outside of the community. These issues are being addressed by the Banning Police Department. Banning PD has implemented strategies to address homelessness and its associated challenges. We remain in close communication with our local authorities to ensure the safety of our community and support their efforts in handling these issues. If you see something, say something. Residents should also take extra precautions into making sure that they're securing their homes by locking all points of entries and garage doors. Even though the holidays are over with, folks, that doesn't mean that these guys are going to take a day off. Make sure you're securing your homes as best as possible, just because these guys they're on the lookout for any points of entry that's easy for them to access. Traffic patterns. Speeding in our streets poses a significant risk to pedestrians, cyclists, and other drivers. It not only increases the likelihood of accidents, but also endangers the lives and diminishes the quality of our community. As residents, you all play a crucial role in maintaining traffic safety. Abiding by speed limits and being mindful of our driving behaviors is a way to actively contribute to the well-being of our neighborhoods. We ask that all residents and guests please observe their speed limits, stay alert and vigilant, and lead by an example for others to follow. Educate your guests. Guests will be cited if we do see them under any violations out there. Your commitment to the safety and security of our community is valued and vital. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to the community security team. I'm Director of Security Mike Romero. Next in command is Lieutenant Roman. Together, we can contribute to make our community a safe and welcoming place for all of our residents. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for Mike? No? Well, oh, we do have one. Hang on just a second.
I wanted to, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to ask you for the phone number again.
Absolutely. That number one more time. This is our dispatch number that's in the front gate. Is 951 area code 845-2163. You're quite welcome, folks.
Any other questions? Well, this was perfect timing because Banning Police Department just walked in.
Thank you for your time, folks.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Lieutenant. Oh, Michael has a new sweater on. I totally love it. This is Sam Mendoza with the Banning Police Department.
Hello, Happy New Year. So for the month of December, I responded to 22 transient-related phone calls. There was 3 felony and 7 misdemeanor arrests.
Wow.
So we've been focusing here in 300 South. So we've been doing the best job that we can. So any questions? No?
Felony arrests, were they in Sun Lakes?
No, nothing here in Sun Lakes, but surrounding area of Sun Lakes, yes. So, yep, any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Wait. You have to be on the microphone.
What were the felonies? Can we know that?
One was a train robbery just northeast of your community, and the other 2 felonies were just warrants through Riverside County. So, but.
So we're safe, no murders.
No. Anything else?
Oh, that was short and sweet.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce our presenter, and this is Heather, and she's going to tell you a little bit about herself.
Good afternoon and Happy New Year, everybody. It is so nice to be here. I don't think I've ever been a speaker in a room that had a disco ball. It looks like you guys have a lot of fun in here, I can tell. My name is Heather Hale, and I'm going to be speaking on coyotes and living among coyotes here in this area. But a little bit about myself is I'm the recreation coordinator for San Bernardino County Regional Parks, and I am an avid hiker. I've been hiking in the same hiking group, very active hiking group, for almost 15 years. I'm a volunteer ranger for the San Gorgonio Wilderness Association, and I've been a Toastmaster for almost 8 years. So I enjoy public speaking, and I enjoy imparting knowledge, especially about wildlife and nature, to anyone that wants to listen. So I have a presentation ready for you, and I will take any questions after if you have any. And I saw a hand up back there. Did you have a question? Should I stand right here in the front? Okay, I'll stand here in the front. Of course. Okay, and is this one better?
Is this one better? You might want to stand in the middle.
Okay, thank you. Can everyone hear me now? This one is better. Okay, good. All right, I have quite a few things on my table here, and I'll be explaining what I have here to show you. You can come up here when I'm finished. You can pet the coyote. Maybe this might be the first time you pet a real coyote. And I have a coyote skull that you can look at and other handouts that I'll be talking about during the presentation. So let's get on with it. Let's talk about coyotes. I know it's everyone's favorite subject, right? Okay, so before we get started on what coyotes are, let's talk about where we are right now, where we're living. Maybe you grew up here. I grew up in San Bernardino, but it's in this general area. But in this Banning Pass, it's a very, very special area that we live in, that you live in right now. And it's right down there at the bottom of the state of California, and we're standing in a very, very special location. And the city of Banning is located in the Riverside County, California, situated between the San Gorgonio Pass, and has always been a strong location for economic development dating back to the gold rush. So this is very historic. Okay, this pass is important because of all the things that happened here and all the animals that live here. So let's think about this area before we lived here, before we moved here, before schools were built here. Let's look at the landscape before we move on to our coyote presentation. Look at the vast open landscape that used to be here. I found some old pictures of this area online, and I was blown away at how pretty it is. And it's still pretty, but gosh, look at the difference it is now versus then. This is from 1912, Banning, California, 1912. Pretty cool, huh? All right, 1920, Armistice Day, Banning, California. Look at the people, look at the clothes, look at the wide open landscape. Not a whole lot of buildings. I believe this is a kindergarten class from the late 1800s. Look at the snow on the San Gorgonio mountain range. And the lower reservoir, Banning, California. I don't have a date on it, but look at how pretty the mountains are. Another beautiful picture of our pass, San Gorgonio Mountains. Looking south from Banning Canyon, Mount San Jacinto, 10,803 feet. It's still beautiful today, but look at all that wide open landscape. So the Stagecoach Town USA is out. I don't know if you guys heard that phrase before, that this is Stagecoach Town USA. The city signage and logos were updated with a newer and more forward-looking vision, and I believe it's still that way today. What is it called? Endless Opportunities? I think I've heard that before. I think I've seen that on a billboard. Now Banning is the fastest growing city in the state, and it appears as if new residents are taking the city up on that promise. I come here often, and I have to sit through a lot of traffic lights because there are so many cars going on and off the freeways, in and out of the shopping centers. So especially the opportunity to buy a new home at an affordable price. Everyone knows that if you want to live in Los Angeles, if you want to live in the big cities, you have to pay a price. But if you come out here, housing is cheaper. And that's what families want. That's what I want. I live in Redlands. It's very expensive, but I know friends and family that came out here to live in this area because it's more affordable. Who wouldn't want that? Endless opportunities. You can come to Banning and buy a house for cheaper than Orange County. I think we know that to be true. It's cheaper living here. It's always been like that. You can get a nice, affordable home. That is endless opportunity. And that's an article I found online when doing my research earlier this year for this presentation, or earlier last year for this presentation. And I know that when I come out here to this area, I'm going to get some beautiful open landscapes, beautiful mountain views of two different mountain ranges, the San Gorgonios and the San Jacintos. We're sitting right in the middle of both of them, and it's beautiful here. And if it's cheaper, I want to live here too. So this area is growing and growing and growing and growing. Coming here, I got off the freeway, Highland Springs, and I usually have to sit through 2 signals, several rounds, just to get through, because the city is growing. But don't forget who else lives here and has lived here. We have wild, wild residents that live here. And these are the animals that are native here. I took a lot of these pictures because I do run into wild animals often. This is a picture that I took of a black bear when I lived in Forest Falls. He came right up to my front door. We have many birds of prey. We do have mountain lions. One male mountain lion can take up an area of 100 miles just for that one mountain lion. So if you haven't seen a mountain, that doesn't mean they don't live here. 1 per 100 miles. Okay, so if you live here, there is at least one. Okay. And we have bobcats. You guys live on a golf course. I'm sure you've seen evidence of bobcats, raccoons, deer, frogs, rattlesnakes. That's a rattlesnake that hated me that day. He chased me. He actually chased me. I gave him his space and took his picture, but he still didn't like me. And we have bats. That's a picture of a bat that I took that I found at my house. We have owls. That's a picture of a great horned owl that I took. And we have very slow-moving tortoises. Of course, that one was found. I found that one out in the Mojave Desert, not here, but still they are here somewhere. And let's not forget about coyotes. We are familiar with coyotes. They live here. Of course they do. And this is a side note. I went hiking on New Year's Eve, and I ran into fresh bear tracks. And of course, I had to take a picture of it. Granted, I'm not talking about bears today, but I wanted to share with you that wild animals are out and about overnight, usually overnight, and we see their evidence. So if you can't see or hear a coyote, look for other evidence, okay? You can see their prints everywhere, just like I saw the prints of this black bear heading up into the snow where I was going, but I didn't see him, unfortunately. Okay, so there's a lot of facts about coyotes that you can do your research on online, but I started my research with this book called Coyote America by Dan Flores. I bought it on Amazon, maybe it was like about 20 bucks or something, and I got a lot of insight before I started my research on coyotes. And I encourage you, if you are interested on the history of coyotes living among people, get this book by Dan Flores, Coyote America, and I have a quote from him before we get started with the facts on coyotes. The starting point is this: the truth is that coyotes have never been solely wilderness creatures. The news media has given us a false impression that coyotes have no business in places like Los Angeles, Chicago, or Manhattan. For 15,000 years since we humans have been in North America, coyotes have always been capable of living among us. Something about our lifestyle has always drawn coyotes to human camps, villages, and cities. That something is ecology at its simplest, even if it makes us squirm a bit. A coyote's primary prey happens to be our close fellow travelers, the mice and rats that flourish among us in profusion. As for fearing us too much to tolerate our presence, coyotes have taken our measure far too perceptively for that. Okay, so they are here. So for eons, coyotes have roamed what is now the western United States and its wide open plains. Then some European settlers came who cut down forests for farms and ranches in a steady east-west march. Along the way, they killed large predators such as pumas or mountain lions, and wolves to protect their livestock or their own safety. The predators they obliterated were mortal enemies of the coyote, holding them in check. So because we took away those large predators, coyotes have flourished. Nothing is keeping the coyote in check. You don't see too many mountain lions or grizzly bears. In fact, you cannot find a grizzly bear in California anymore. They went extinct because of overhunting. So they were keeping the coyote and the wolf population in check. We don't have wolves anymore either. We have coyotes and mountain lions, and we don't even have that many mountain lions. So of course we're going to have more coyotes because of that. As mountain lions and wolf packs disappeared from the landscapes, coyotes took advantage, starting a wide expansion east to west at the turn of the last century into deforested land that continues today. Coyotes are here to stay. They're not going anywhere. So let's learn a little bit about them, our closest neighbors. All right, coyotes are opportunistic. That means they have adapted masterfully to SoCal's urban wildlife interface, and it's not uncommon to see them roaming neighborhoods and streets after sunset. Raise your hand if you've seen one at any time during the day. Yeah, me too. I do too. I live in downtown Redlands, and I see them in my neighborhood, and I live a few feet away from the city. Like, I'm right off the beaten path, and I see them all the time, day and night. When I leave for work at 6:30 in the morning, I see them on my way to work. Okay, they are here, and they're running everywhere in our city. Whether we see them or not, they're here. And of course, that's led to plenty of concerns, which is why we're all here today. So let's see some pictures of coyotes in the city. Some of these have collars. Maybe they're being tracked by some wildlife experts. Here we go. A lot of these are taken during the day. So they are opportunistic, which means they would prefer to hunt at night, but if they're hungry, they're going to come out and find something to eat because they're opportunistic. If they know the people down the street don't clean up after their parties, they're going to go no matter what time of day because there's going to be a food source. And like I said, they're opportunistic. So facts about our coyote friends. What is a male and what is a female? How can I tell if one is a boy or a girl? Well, it's size. If you see one, you might not be able to tell because you have to compare it to another size. But if you see a couple together, you can probably tell the difference between a bigger one and a smaller one. The bigger one is probably the male, and the smaller one is the female. A typical pack consists of one mature male, one mature female, along with their offspring. And they have a few pups at a time, maybe 4 or 5. And their tracks look very similar to dogs versus cats. So if you have a larger dog, their prints might be very similar to a coyote's prints. Whereas if you see a large cat print, that's much different. So dogs and coyotes, you can see their nails maybe in the sand, in the mud, on the sidewalk. If it was raining and their paws are wet, you can see their nails. Where cats keep their nails inside until they're ready to use them. When cats walk around, their nails are not showing. So if you see prints that have no nails on them, that's probably a cat, bobcat, mountain lion, big fat house cat like mine. But if you see coyote or dog tracks, you will see nails. So these are some dog, coyote, fox. Foxes are in the dog family, the canine family as well, so they'll have similar prints, and then you see the cat on the end. So if you're not sure, always take a picture and then maybe go home and research. That's what I like to do. All right, so more print examples. Always take a picture, even of scat, and we'll get to what scat is in a second, but take a picture of everything that you see. All right, here's an example of some paw prints in the mud. And it looks like those are cat, because I don't see nails. All right, scat or droppings or poop, of course. So coyote droppings resemble a knotted rope with multiple pieces. They're big and tubular. Coyote droppings are usually 3/4 to 1.5 inches in diameter and 3 to 5 inches long. So if you think you see coyote scat on the sidewalk, on the golf course, in your front yard, in your backyard, take a picture of it, take a look at some other examples online, and compare it. Okay, do your research, compare it, and you're probably right if you think it's a coyote and it looks like this. It has all the earmarks for it. Coyote feces may contain hair and bones, such as from their prey, like rodents or shrews or rabbits. So if it's a coyote or maybe even a fox, you get foxes here, and there's hair in it, but you're like, gosh, it looks so much like my own dog's poop. But if there's hair in it, my dog doesn't eat rabbits or shrews or things with hair in it. They only eat their dry kibble. It's probably a wild animal because our pets don't eat the things that wild animals eat, and it comes out in their scat. So you can tell that it is a wild animal if you see other things in it. And like I said, coyotes are opportunistic. They'll prefer meat, but they might also eat plants. So you might be able to see some seeds in there as well from the last piece of fruit that it ate possibly. So you might find seeds and grass and fruits and nuts and berries that they ate last, and maybe even intestinal worms. So that's why you don't want to touch it. But take pictures of it, do your research, and maybe guess what you think it left or what left it. All right, so if you do see some coyote scat in your yard, and you have to get rid of it, especially if you have a dog at home, you don't want them anywhere near it. Do not remove it with your bare hands. Of course, none of us would do that, but I have to say it anyway. Don't sniff it, don't touch it, don't poke at it without gloves on, okay? And you want a shovel, you want bags, double bag, triple bag, quadruple bag, and dispose of it. So put gloves on and a mask. You may also wear rubber boots to cover your feet. If the poop is dry, wet it with warm water. Just like when we dust, we don't want to breathe in the dust if we're dusting. We want to get it nice and damp with a damp cloth because we don't want to breathe in anything dry. It might get into our lungs. And there are diseases that they carry that we are never in contact with unless we do this. So remove the excrement with a shovel. The area should be cleaned with hot water and disinfectant. Remove the gloves and wash your hands with hot soapy water, and then wash your clothes separately. So that's what you do if you find coyote scat or what you think is coyote scat in your front or backyard or anywhere near where your dog is going to run. You don't want them getting into it. All right, coyotes are omnivores, but despite this, they prefer to favor meat. 3/4 of a coyote's diet comprises of small animals like mice, rabbits, rats, and squirrels. The remainder is fruits, birds, vegetables, insects, and fish, and eggs. Recent National Park Service study found the vast majority of an urban coyote's diet, 75%, is human-related resources, including human garbage, which we'll talk about in a second, cats, many of them feral, fed by well-meaning humans, myself included. I have fed many feral cats thinking I was doing a good job, and suddenly they don't come around anymore. Nobody caught them because they're feral. I wonder what happened to them. If we feed feral cats, we have to expect that coyotes will be coming along also. And to researchers' surprise, fruit from ornamental plants like palm and fig trees also. So if you have those in your yard, expect a coyote to come around. Coyotes belong to the family Canidae, if I'm pronouncing that right, or canines, and they're closely related to wolves, foxes, jackals, and other wild dogs. And I have a coyote skull. It is real on the table, and you can get a good up-close look at their teeth. As omnivorous canines, their 4 canine teeth in the upper and lower jaw are essential in catching and grabbing their prey. The premolars and molars, collectively called cheek teeth, are utilized in tearing and crushing bigger chunks of animal meat. So that's how they hunt. They grab it and then they start chewing it. However, coyotes' most distinct features that separates them from their canine relatives is their small, pointed, narrow snout or their muzzle. So if you look at a coyote, the picture that I have or the pictures that I have on the screen, their muzzles are really skinny, but they have a ferocious bite. Okay, so they don't look like they're big wolves, but they do have a very strong bite. Speaking of that, coyotes have a 88 pounds per square inch bite. Their narrow lower jaw usually gives off the strongest punch. Apart from their very strong jaws, what helps coyotes defeat bigger animals is their nature to hunt in packs, giving them more strength in taking down prey. Okay, they tend to be solitary animals. Unless they want to hunt down something bigger, they'll group together and go hunting together. All right, and their coats. Coyote coats serve to insulate them against the elements. The coyote pelt I have on the table is an eastern coyote, and it's a winter fur coat. So it's very thick, very luxurious, and I'm sure it kept him very warm in the winter. And a coyote will shed their fur in the summer to keep them nice and cool, grow it in the winter to keep them nice and warm, just like our pets do at home. I know my cats get really fluffy when it gets cold out. All right, but it also helps them camouflage. If you take a look at the coyotes in the picture, the coyote on the table, the colors in their coat are the colors of their surrounding, okay? So they're very hard to see sometimes unless they move because their coat helps them blend in really well. So their coats aren't large. They only cover a scrawny 30-pound frame because coyotes are not that big, but the fur is long, reaching 4 to 5 inches in the winter. So they can get pretty fluffy and they can look pretty big in the winter, but they're not that big underneath. All right, so this is a picture of a coyote that I took when I was in Riverside County near the Hidden Valley Nature Center. I thought I saw something moving off in the hills, and I stood real still, and he stood still, and I didn't see him until he started walking away, and then I saw him because he blended in so well with the hillside. All right, coyote vision is closer to 20/70, and some may have even worse vision. So this basically means that a coyote can see 20 feet what a human can see at 70 feet. Okay, the one vision strength coyotes have over humans is their peripheral vision. So this is what makes them very hard to sneak up on a coyote. So they have eyes closer to the side versus the owls have eyes really close to the front, but they have a really good peripheral vision. I do not. So if you could easily sneak up behind me and scare me, and I'll probably jump and scream. But a coyote is hard to sneak up on because they can see really well behind them and beside them. So coyotes are diurnal, which means they come out during the day, just like you and I are today. We're diurnal, and they can see well at any time, where humans see best in plenty of light. So I have terrible night vision. I don't have glasses to drive with when I drive at night, but I have a hard time seeing at night. Most of us probably can relate, but a coyote can see well at all times. They prefer to hunt when no one's around, but if they have to come out during the day, they can see just fine. All right, hearing and smells. A coyote's sense of smell and hearing is simply amazing. This animal can hear sound cues in the best conditions at a distance of 9,000 yards. I can barely hear someone talking across the room. They can hear 9,000 yards in good conditions. And their sense of smell is so powerful that they can locate prey underneath the snow. This powerful nose is also used to distinguish dangerous predators, including hunters. And it's believed that coyotes can smell a predator from over a mile away. Pretty impressive. So if you put out a dish of dog food and walk away, your pets might not be able to smell it as soon as you put it down, but a coyote a mile away can. And if the wind is going in his direction, absolutely, he can smell that. And he might come if there's nothing else around. So if you think that you're just leaving a bull out for an hour or so, think again. It's not just an hour or so. That's ringing the dinner bell for a larger predator like a coyote to come and investigate and help himself. So if you find a coyote in your neighborhood, it's probably your fault or your neighbor's, and you don't even know it. Just like putting down a bowl of food, you're ringing the dinner bell, you're putting out the welcome mat for a wild animal to come pay you a visit, okay? It's a simple, everyday act that we do, but doing it is not always the smartest in this area if you're having a coyote problem. It's everyone's job to secure trash, keep pet food and pets inside, and get rid of low-hanging fruit, literally, okay? Literally, if you have an ornamental fruit tree or a bush that has berries on it, make sure to take those off, okay? If you see that they're dropping on the ground, pick them up, definitely. So look around for your coyote welcome mat. It's there, and you might not even know it. So here's some pictures of coyotes helping themselves to fruit. Who knew? Everyone likes a watermelon in the summer. I do. That was taken on a trail cam. So coyotes are the ultimate American survivor. I still think they're cute. Unlike mountain lions, wolves, and bears, they were hunted to near extinction in state-sponsored predator control programs. Coyotes do not give in easily. Coyotes are the ultimate American survivor. They have endured persecution all over the place. They are sneaky enough. They eat whenever they find insects, smaller animals, and garbage. So at the beginning of time, coyotes were strictly carnivores, but over time, they've adapted to living around humans. They've adapted to eating fruits and vegetables and garbage. So they have flat teeth and sharp teeth. Of course, they prefer meat, but they will eat whatever they can to survive. So Stanley D. Gert, at Ohio University, professor and a wildlife ecologist who runs the Urban Coyote Project, which I encourage you all to Google when you get home, Urban Coyote Research Project, which studies coyotes in the Chicago area, said in a recent interview that coyotes are extremely flexible and adaptable to different kinds of environments. They're generalists for sure, so generalists tend to do pretty well in cities, but they also benefit once they move into cities. Okay, they definitely benefit from it. So living with coyotes, nobody wants to do that, but we're doing it. We have to do it because we don't have a choice. We have to do certain things in our behavior if we want to live with coyotes. Take away the welcome mat, like I said. Don't provide a habitat. Habitat is food, water, and shelter. Wild animals have a habitat wherever they choose to if they have food, water, and shelter. And that's a coyote that I took in northern Nevada. I was on my way to work, and I saw him just standing there very still on the side of the road. And, of course, I had to pull over and take a picture of him. So if we leave the lid on the trash can, but it's not locked shut, the coyote might come around and think, ooh, they had a party. I smell pizza crust in there. I'm going to knock that over and have some breakfast. Same with parks, same with city parks. If we don't take the trash out every day, coyotes are going to come. And maybe not the coyotes at first. Maybe it might be a mouse or a rat or the birds pecking through the garbage. But if you have the smaller animals, that coyotes are going to come and eat the smaller animals and then the garbage. I took this in the middle of the day at Glen Helen Regional Park when I showed up for work. A group of it was a family. They had obviously had a big party. I was going to move in and take over the shelter and do something that I was supposed to do, and I was waiting for them to clean up. And lo and behold, a coyote in the middle of the day, this was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, was helping me clean up. Okay, they didn't do a very good job cleaning up after themselves from the party, from the shelter that they were under, and the trash cans were overflowing. It was really windy because it's Glen Helen and it's in Devore. Crazy winds all the time, and there was trash being flown all over the place, and there were 2 coyotes in the middle of the day helping me clean up. And they didn't care that I was there either. Okay, so wildlife-proof garbage is sturdy containers with tight-fitting lids. Take out trash in the morning. Take trash out the morning pickup is scheduled. So I think we talked about this the last time I was here. I know it's really hard to put locking lids that are like the ones in the picture that you can buy on Amazon. I know that's really hard in this community because of the way the trash is taken out. But if you have to store a trash can maybe behind your house before trash day, lock the lids for sure. Put the trash out the morning that the trash is going to be picked up, not the night before, because that's when the animals like to come out and cause trouble and knock things over and dig through your trash can and make a mess for you the next day, and maybe even do a little bit of hunting while he's at it. So if you have to put your trash out, make sure to do it the day the trash man is coming. If you have to store your trash can behind your house, on the side of your house, lock the lid. I know it's kind of a hassle to unlock it and throw your trash out every time, but it will protect a nosy critter, a little Gladys Kravitz with 4 legs, from jumping your fence, getting into your business, and causing a mess. Okay, you can spray ammonia around your house, around your perimeter. I know that's very helpful when you have a feral cat problem. Spraying ammonia around your perimeter of your house might deter a wild animal. You might as well try it. Can't hurt anything, okay? So it says ammonia is a strong-smelling chemical that is used in many cleaning products, like I think it's in Windex. It can also be used as a deterrent for animals. Simply mix ammonia and water in a spray bottle and spray it in your garbage bags. Spray it on your garbage bags. Spray it around your garbage can. The strong smell of ammonia will help keep the animals away. Be sure to wear gloves, eye protectant, because it is a chemical. But it's something to try if you've never tried anything. Start with that. If you grill, if you have your own barbecue, fabulous. If you use the one maybe in a park, or if you have one in a community area and you grill 4th of July, steaks, hamburgers, hot dogs, clean the grill. You're leaving, but that meat is staying behind on that grill, and it's going to attract animals to that area. If it's in your backyard, you have a dog, it's just going to be trouble. Clean the grill when you're done. That's where the leftover food is, so clean up after yourself. All right, use a 6-foot leash, not the long retractable leash when walking your dog. I love those retractable leashes. I don't have a dog, but I have friends that do, and when I'm with them, that leash is so nice. You can let the dog walk way ahead of you. You can have a nice conversation without the dog constantly pulling on you. You can let it go, let it out, let it in, let it out. It's really nice. However, those retractable leashes are really long when you let them outstretch the entire capacity. Well, those calculating coyotes are doing the math in their head when they see a little poodle on the end of that long retractable leash, and then you're way over here. So it's going to do the math in its head. I can grab it before that human can run to get me, so I'm going to go for it. So even if it's attached to a leash, that doesn't mean that the coyote is saying, oh, dang, he's on a leash. He's going to try for it anyway. So if the animal is closer to you, that's another layer of protection. If you let the animal go way far away from you, you can't grab it fast. Before that coyote, is eating half of your pet, you're still reacting. Okay, animals are very smart, very fast. Keep your animal close to you, as close as possible. 6 feet is great. A 6-foot leash is fabulous. The long retractable ones, as far as they can go, probably not. Don't let it go that far. So pick up a dog and carry it if you feel threatened, not just by a coyote. another dog, an aggressive person, or another wild animal, maybe a bobcat. Pick up your dog if it's small enough. Don't hurt yourself. Pick up your dog if you're able to and carry it, okay? Just like you would a child. But if you have a big animal, maybe stand in front of it, okay? Well, I can't lift very much either. I have a very fat cat, and I have to use 2 hands to pick him up. But if in an emergency I can't pick him up because I'm carrying something else, stand in front of your pet, just like you would a child. Put your child behind you. You face the danger, okay? So if you're worried on a walk that something's going to grab him, maybe another aggressive dog, stand in front of it. Protect him. Carry a whistle, pepper spray, a walking stick. Make yourself look really big. When I go hiking, I go often by myself if I'm not with my hiking group. I always carry hiking poles, but I don't need hiking poles. My knees, thank God, right now at age 40 are just fine. You know, I don't need hiking poles, but I carry them as a layer of protection. If there's a wild animal coming after me, I have to hold them up. Makes my arms look twice as long, and I'm much bigger than I really am if I have something in my hands that I can hold up. Okay, so same with going on a walk, maybe with a group or with your dog. Carry something with you to make yourself look bigger if you have to, okay? And if you don't have a whistle, I encourage everyone to have a whistle, not just for wild animals, just going shopping. It gets dark at 4:30. If you have to run to Walmart, carry a whistle. I have a basket full of whistles. Everyone in the room can have a whistle. It's just another level of protection that we can all have. I carry a whistle with me all the time. I have whistles all over the place because I can't yell very loud and I can't scream for very long. So if I have a whistle, it's much easier. My laundry room, I have to walk to my laundry room. I carry a whistle when I get my laundry because you just don't know. You just don't know what could happen. So if you're on a walk, have a whistle, have pepper spray, have a walking stick, something with you. Coyotes can scale a 6-foot fence, so don't leave your pet alone or make a catio-style space. So if you have a tall fence or a regulation fence, because I know this is an HOA, things have to be a certain height, okay? If you think it's tall enough, think again. It is not. I guarantee you it's not tall enough. Coyotes can scale a fence, and if there's a little tiny gap at the bottom, you better believe they can get under that little gap and get into your yard. So here's a catio. You can buy them, probably Walmart.com. I don't know if you can go in the store and get them. You can order them on Amazon. You can buy them at Home Depot. You can build one yourself. I have friends that have built their own catios for their cats. You can keep them in there. They're good for dogs as well. If you want your animal to have some sunshine, some grass, just to go out and roll around and get dirty, that's fine. They don't have to wander the whole yard. You can have a catio, and you can make them any size that you want them to be. I have a balcony because I live upstairs, so thank goodness my balcony is my catio. My cats have never touched dirt, unfortunately. They're pure white, so I don't want them to touch dirt. So here's a catio. They don't have to be just for cats, small dogs, chickens, whatever you want. When you take your animals for a walk, walk in a group. If you're able to, this looks like a wonderful tight-knit community. Walk in a group or start a walking club or start a walking group. Or if you live on a cul-de-sac, everyone walks on the cul-de-sac. Everyone knows each other. So take a walk. And if you have pets, even better. So beware of wild animal sightings when walking at dusk or dawn. That means they're crepuscular animals. They prefer to come out when the sun goes up and when the sun goes down. And a lot of times you'll see animals at that time as well. That's when they like to hang out. And then last time I was here, you guys gave me the idea of coyote rollers or a coyote fence. And then you told me that they're not allowed here. And I have to say, if you're part of a board, if you want to run for a board, if you go to board meetings, fight to get these installed. If you have a small animal outside, or if you don't want animals in your yard, bobcats, coyotes, even feral cats, get a coyote fence or a coyote roller. So if you see that chain link fence on the top, it rolls. It's not stationary. So if an animal tries to jump over it, they roll off. It's probably not 100% coyote proof, but it's a layer of protection. And I was told, if I remember correctly, they're not allowed here. Fight to get this allowed. Because if your animals or your grandkids are in your backyard and you think there's a coyote problem, which it sounds like there is, why not? We have a fabulous security checkpoint at the beginning of our community here, I had to show my ID to come in. That's a fabulous layer of protection. Why not have a very similar one for your property? Okay, so there's two kinds that I read about online, coyoteroller.com and critterfence.com. Look into them. If they're not allowed, fight for them to be allowed. Okay, I don't think there's a requirement to be on a height or anything. I think they can be attached to any size fence. I don't know. I have a condo. I don't even own a fence. But if I did, I would do my research and I would definitely get one. So you can read about them. And here's another picture of them. They seem to be easy to install. And there's a coyote jumping a fence easily without a coyote roller. Okay, it's no problem for them. They're survivors, the ultimate American survivor. A 6-foot chain link fence is it's a little game for him. Okay. All right, so realtors, the HOA, the community, and you make known the issues with coyotes and other predators to your prospective residents. If there's a vacant house to your right or left of you or across the street from you and you see someone touring it, maybe they want to buy it, let them know the issues that you have here. Give them a heads up. Hey, we have a coyote problem. Do you have any pets? Oh, yeah, we have a little dog. Just so you know, this is what our community has done to prevent issues, okay? We've had a lot of attacks lately, so this is what we're doing about it, and we'd like you to know what to do also. And if you tell people that are moving in about the issues, maybe they can prepare ahead of time. That way they're not blindsided by letting their pet out their first week here, okay? And maybe the realtors around here, if you know any realtors, tell them about the people that are moving in that there's a coyote problem in Sun Lakes and the tools that they can do, maybe all the levels of protection that they can do, just like you're doing when they move in. Okay, so what should you do if you do see a coyote? And everyone here raised their hand when I asked, have you seen a coyote? Yes, you have. I have too. If you see a coyote going about its normal business at night, especially at night, let it alone. Leave it be. Okay, exercise caution, of course, if you see one during the day, as this could show that it isn't fazed by the presence of humans. If it's out walking the streets in the neighborhoods during the day, it could care less that you're there. Okay, he's not afraid of you. If one approaches you, that's when you can resort to waving your hands, holding up your hiking sticks, blowing your whistle, yelling, throwing things at it. If you have a water bottle, throw it at him. That's fine. It's not going to break the water bottle, and it will scare him away. Okay, but whatever you do, don't run. Don't run away from wild animals, because that's just going to trigger the instinct to chase you. And if you're attacked, please call 911. Okay, if you see coyotes here and there and it doesn't seem to be a problem, it doesn't pose a threat, leave it alone. A docile or shy coyote is a blessing, okay? A coyote has to be represented in this area. There has to be a coyote presence here at some point, okay? If it's removed or leaves the space, now this area is up for grabs, and another more aggressive coyote or a pack of coyotes will move in and take over this space. And if you have aggressive coyotes, ones that are absolutely out of their mind crazy, that's the problem. But if you have a docile one, count your blessings. Yes? If it's just standing there, not doing anything, leave it alone. Don't haze it out. He's not bothering anyone. Just keep going. Just keep going. If you see one approaching fences, maybe parked cars, maybe a house, it's going right up to the front yard, scare it away. But if it's just standing on the hillside doing nothing, leave it alone. Coyotes removed from an area will quickly be replaced by others. Coyote pairs hold territories, leaving a single coyote or a floater constantly looking for a new place to call home. If attractants in a neighborhood are not removed, like pet food, garbage, etc., new coyotes in an area can quickly become the nuisance coyotes. And research suggests that when aggressively controlled, and we know what the word aggressively means, looking at that sign, coyotes can increase their reproductive rate by breeding at an earlier age and having larger litters with higher survival rate among the young. This allows coyote populations to quickly bounce back even when as much as 70% of their numbers are removed. So hunting them does nothing. Hunting them triggers the instinct to reproduce faster with more litters. So killing them is not the answer. And these are coyote pups. I know. Baby everything is cute. I even saw a baby rattlesnake newly hatched, and I thought it was adorable. Baby animals are precious. I know, they're so cute. It is nearly impossible to completely eradicate coyotes from an area, despite bounties and large-scale efforts to kill coyotes over the last 100 years. Coyotes have, in fact, expanded their range throughout the U.S. and Canada tremendously. One study even found that killing 75% of a coyote population every year for 50 years would still not exterminate the population. So don't even try. And then someone told me this quote a long time ago, and I found it online because I wanted to quote it correctly. I didn't want to plagiarize it. I don't know who Ted Kooser is, but I found his quote. Coyote hunting can't be justified on the basis of the damage they do. Shooting coyotes is really just fun. Shooting coyotes is really just fun. A man with a high-powered rifle trying to see if he can kill a frightened creature that can't shoot back. So what is their role in the ecosystem? Okay, they're here. We have to live with them, but why are they here? I had a friend that had a chicken. She had one chicken that happened to come in her yard, and she became friends with it. It would come to her, and one day they did not close the garage door closely, and that's where the chicken was sleeping, and she saw the next morning evidence that a coyote had killed the chicken. And it was her own fault, she admits, because the coyote broke into her garage because the door wasn't properly closed. But she's like, why are they even here? Well, they're here for a very special reason. They have a role. They do have a job. Coyotes help keep the balance of nature in order. Like all animals, they do. They have a role. Education is the solution to our coexistence. Coyotes contribute many beneficial aspects to our ecosystem as they are helpful to farmers, ranchers, gardeners, and homeowners, believe it or not. Coyotes kill destructive vegetation-eating rodents as they are 80% of the coyote's diet. Natural rodent control is always preferable to man-made poisons and inhumane traps. Coyotes also eat insects that have saved many farms from insect invasions. So if you put out rat poison, that rat poison never leaves the ecosystem. It's transferred from one body to the next. So you put out rat poison because you found a rat in your garage. Oh, how awful is that? Put out the poison. Well, that's an easy solution. I don't have to look at it. I can just put out the poison, and there you go. Well, the rat's going to eat that. He's going to run outside. And then the neighbor's cat loves to go out at night and hunt rats. Well, that cat is going to eat that rat that has the poison. Now the cat is poisoned. Okay, and now the coyote is going to eat the cat, and the coyote now has the poison. Well, that coyote is going to go in the hill and die. Well, the scavengers, birds of prey, other creatures that like to eat dead animals now have that poison in them. So it just gets transferred. So it doesn't really solve a problem. It solves the immediate problem. Your rat is dead. But now there's a whole line of affected animals because of that. So if you let the coyotes, the raccoons, the cat, things in nature take care of each other, then we don't have a problem. We're fortunate to share our homes with coyotes and other animals, and it's important that we come to appreciate and understand the fascinating animals with whom we share our magnificent planet. So they're here, we're here. If we can coexist the proper way, the better. Okay, so like I said earlier, if you want to go home and do a little bit of research, there's so many things you could read up on coyotes. I promise you, it's endless, okay? But two resources that I got a lot of my information from, Urban Coyote Research Project, if you Google that, and then the Humane Society of the United States, they have a coyote section. If you type in what to do about coyotes, a nice page of information will come up, okay? And before we end this, I want to share a video with you on what coyotes sound like when they are in packs, okay? So you might be sleeping at night and you hear something, you're like, what is that sound? It's important to know what you're hearing, okay? It's important to know. So, all right, it's only 2 minutes, but it's really loud. sound like sirens. So that's the sound of a coyote pack, probably hunting, maybe communicating. I was camping out in Oak Glen. We had a junior ranger camp out. We had a bunch of kids with us. All of us were in tents. And I was in a tent with my niece, and I heard a coyote howling similar to this, just one over here. And then I heard the other one respond over here. And then I heard another one respond over here. And then before we knew it, they were all talking to each other. What they were saying, I have no idea. But we had no idea when we went to bed that we were surrounded by coyotes. They didn't come in a group. They were still surrounding us, communicating. What they were saying, like I said, I don't know, but they were obviously giving warning or giving information to each other. So they are there whether we see them or not. Okay, thank you for listening to that. Hopefully that doesn't keep you awake at night. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for enjoying this presentation. Thank you so much for staying. If you have any questions, let me know. But if you, before you leave, towards the end of our Q&A session, please come up here. I do have some handouts. You can have one. If you have a neighbor that did not make it, get a copy for them. I have some USDA handouts. I contacted the Forest Service because I'm a volunteer ranger for the San Gorgonio Wilderness Association. I know a lot of people that volunteer who are part of the Forest Service, and they gave me some handouts. I consulted with them for this presentation. They confirmed the information. I got information from them. They gave me this handout. I made photocopies. I have a whistle, so please don't go on a walk without a whistle. Don't go to Walmart without a whistle. There's a whistle for everyone. If this basket is empty, I have more. If you want to come up and pet this coyote fur, this is an eastern coyote. Pet him. He's very soft, very sweet. And I also have a coyote skull. There's you can touch his teeth if you would like. You don't have to. But it's just good information to know what you're facing. If you know a problem, it's not as scary until you research more about it, okay? So thank you so much, everyone. And if you would like to volunteer for the San Gorgonio Wilderness Association, if you have a lot of free time coming up in the year 2024, try something new that you've never done and be a volunteer ranger. Here's some handouts on that as well. So thank you so much.
Does anybody have any questions for Heather before we close? Does anybody have any questions that they'd like to ask her? Okay, we'll start right here. And please wait till I come around with the microphone.
I am wondering if you know about all of these very low fences that are around the golf course, and is there any suggestion that you have? Because that's where they get the little dogs from.
I agree, and I'm surprised that they were allowed to be so low, especially where we live. We live in between these two huge mountain ranges, and there's wildlife everywhere. There's wildlife everywhere. So when they built the community, it's beautiful. I would love to live here, but I'm not sure why they allowed the fences to be so low. I'm part of a co-op, so I own my condo, but there's also a type of like an HOA. You guys do have an HOA. You do have a board. You do have representing members. See what you can do. Maybe this is the year that you fight to have your fences coyote-proofed. Bring them up, bring them higher, get the coyote rollers, do what you have to do. I'm not sure why those are so short, because to me, that's just a welcome mat. And you're right, I don't know why. But you guys live here. You pay, I don't know how much you pay to live here. I don't know how much the HOA is, but your fees should be going to something, and it should be fighting to have these things improved for your own safety. Because it's not just your pets. What if you have a grandchild out in your backyard and something comes and wants a meal? You know what I mean? It just, if you have a kiosk that checks your ID, if you have circulating security driving your streets, as you should, if you have that, why not have protection around your yard as well?
Heather, I just want to let you know, yes, we are an HOA, and a lot of our fences are low, but a lot of them are on the golf course, and we pay for that view. So we're not going to change that just to have the, not to have a coyote in your backyard. Yeah. All of us need to be aware. All of us need to be very vigilant. All of us need to make sure that we are there outside with our animals and to not leave them outside unattended by themselves. That's our responsibility as homeowners living here in Sun Lakes. So I don't think the master board is going to change any of that. So I know there's a question over here.
Hi. We live on the golf course, and we can hear the packs at night, and we try to yell and break them up. Is that a good thing to do? It sounds like they're getting an animal.
Yeah, if they're hunting, they're not listening to you, which is, you know, they're focused. They found something that they want. It wouldn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to make a sound every time you hear them come by.
Oh, we do.
Yeah, keep doing that. That doesn't hurt anything. In fact, it probably just lets them know, oh, that house is available. They're noisy over there. Let's not go over there. So it doesn't hurt to make noise every time you hear them. Absolutely, keep doing it. You what? Blow a whistle, absolutely. Nobody likes a whistle in their ears. I hate the sound of whistles. Hurts my ears.
Hi, I also live on the golf course, and I have a little dog too. And the only advice that I can give is you, as a dog owner, are a parent to that dog, and it is your responsibility to make sure that they're safe. So the high fences and all of that is all great, but like many say, we pay for that view, and as I do too. And my pet is my child. So I don't let her go out in the back unsupervised. I don't let her off the leash. I'm very aware of the coyotes, and it's up to us to be the better parent and take care of our dogs.
Absolutely, that's wonderful. It's so nice to hear that you're taking responsibility for the pet. When you take on an animal, you're taking on the responsibility for their life. I have 2 cats. I don't have children. They're everything to me. So when I leave out of town, if I go out for a long weekend or a long week, I don't leave them at home. I find someone to take care of them because their life is important. They're always being cared for because that's what I took on when I adopted them. So I love that you're aware of your surroundings. You don't let your animals go out without your supervision. That's great. It's great to hear because sometimes it's just so easy to let them out for an hour or so to get some sunlight, but what are we really doing? So I'm glad that you're taking responsibility.
We have fig trees, peach trees,
Where's
apple
your address?
tree.
I'm coming over in the summer. I'm making a fruit salad.
Yeah, we have a lot of fruit trees.
Yum.
So you're saying to keep them higher up from the ground so they can't just grab it, but can they just climb in the tree and eat it?
They're not climbers, no. They're, like I said, they're opportunistic. They're not going to climb, but if there's fruit that's low-hanging or on the ground, that might not attract the coyote, but it's going to attract rats or mice to eat that, and that will also attract coyotes. So they're going to eat whatever's on the ground. They're going to eat the low-hanging fruit, but if it's trimmed nicely and up, they're not
pretty much
climbers.
Eliminated the rat problem.
Perfect.
But okay, are there fruit trees they don't like?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of.
Are there, you like to think of yourself as a gardener. Are there fruits, are there vegetables they don't like?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't think they prefer vegetables, but if right now there's not much else to eat, they're going to eat it.
So even garlic wouldn't bother them. Okay, thank you.
Maybe if he's Italian.
Okay, I had someone up here first. Who raised their hand up here? Okay, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Linda, and we live on the 3rd fairway on the golf course, and we have a low wall. The coyotes can scale a 6-foot fence. So, reinforcing the fences or the walls is probably not going to do that much. But we know the dangers of the coyotes. We lived in Laguna Woods, where we were right across the street from the Laguna Canyon Preserve. And we never let our dog out without us holding him, or we have a large crate for him. And if he is, with us, we have an air horn like you use on a boat, a marine horn, and we have pepper spray. That's just how it is. We entertain. We have friends over, and they're like, "Aren't you kind of overdoing it?" But it's like, you know what? We've been sitting on the patio in the early morning when we've seen a coyote jump over a wall across the fairway, and use the air horn, and the coyote jumped back. And I've taken pictures of these coyotes and shown it to the homeowners and said, this is what's going on. You need to be out there. So we know we have the great view, we love it, but we're not in favor. Some of the people have said about, culling them and trapping them and sending them somewhere else. That's not going to work. We just need to learn to live with them.
That's wonderful. I'm glad that you keep all those tools on hand if you do see a coyote. And that I think it's funny that some people like, aren't you overdoing it? You can't overdo it because these are your pets. This is your property. And I think whatever tools that you can use, the more the better, right?
Yeah, somebody that had just moved in here on our side of the fairway was let their dog out in the back, and they were moving in, and the coyote came and got their dog, and she saw it happen. Mm-hmm. She didn't know. And so...
Thank you so much. Share all that information maybe as Christmas presents this coming year. Get everyone a coyote basket, coyote-proof basket.
Amazon sells really great pepper spray and the air horns.
Great stocking
really
stuffers.
Good crates.
Awesome. I love it. Everyone should have that
Thank
nearby.
You,
That's
Someone
wonderful.
else had their hand up. Right here.
Okay. I just want to share that my Abby was attacked by a coyote in our backyard. We live on Rio Bravo, and we're not on a golf course, but there's an easement right there on the other side of our wall. It's a low wall. And I was right behind her when the coyote just jumped over. He didn't care who was there. He just went for her. He just circled her around. She screamed. I screamed at him. And I had my phone, and he was right by the podium. I got my phone, and I threw it at him, and he dropped her. But he did grab her by her throat and on her head. He tried to carry her by her head, and that's when he dropped her. And poor thing, she was so scared, but she did get an injury to her neck and her head, and she's okay now. She did have to have a surgery. They had to lance her head, and she had a bunch of stitches on the top of her head. It got infected, but it took about, it happened December 1st, and she had her stitches removed Christmas Eve, so, but she's okay now. But yeah, they're around, and they're right. They're not afraid of you. You know, you're right there. They're not afraid. They'll come and get your dog.
Yeah, I'm so glad your pet survived that. I mean, that's a scary attack. You had something in your hand, you threw it. That worked. I mean, granted, there was a minor, not minor, but it was an injury that your pet survived. But throwing things definitely helps. I had a friend that she was coming home at night, and she saw a coyote running down the street holding her cat in its mouth, and she chased it down with her car. She didn't hit the coyote, but she was honking her horn, blasting her lights at it, and she outdrove the coyote, and he couldn't get away from the car, so he dropped the cat. She saved her cat, but she chased it with her car. How dare you take away my cat? I'm getting my cat back.
My wife and I are relatively new to Sun Lakes. We only came here in 2019 fall. And we would hear the coyotes out on the fairway behind our home. And it never really bothered us. They can't get in the door. But anyway, for the first time just this past week, I saw 2 coyotes prowling when I was out doing some early morning shopping. And at first I was thrilled just to see them. But then I realized I had driven past 2 women who were walking their dog in the opposite direction. So I went back and alerted them. Is that reasonable?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. If you see a coyote nearby, tell your neighbors, tell someone walking. Absolutely. Communication is key, especially if you know there's a problem. Tell someone. If you see a prowler hanging out down the street, you're going to alert somebody that there's someone around. You would do the same thing with coyote.
And also, are they likely to be attracted to someone this big?
Probably not.
Probably
you would scare
not.
me if you came after me, and I'm shorter than you. No, making yourself look tall and aggressive will scare them away. Absolutely. I'm short, so I have to use things in my hand. But you're naturally gifted in the presence, absolutely.
If you have a coyote problem, would you give that guy my address? I got squirrels, and I'm trying to get rid of them. And I haven't seen him since spring.
Maybe you want a coyote in your yard. I'll send him your way.
I just wanted to remind everybody, she was talking about the leash. California state law is 6 feet. So you need to make sure, and I know a lot of walkers out there let their dogs go way, way in front of them. California state law is 6 feet, no more than that.
Yeah, you don't think about 6 feet and then beyond as being a problem, but when we're talking about the issues that we have, 6 feet is perfect amount of space and time for you to yank your dog back or pick up your animal. But if it's, I don't know how long those retractable leashes are, 10 feet? I don't know, that's a long distance. It's a long distance. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, she's first.
Yeah, I live on what they call the wildlife preserve, and I can look down and see the whole thing. And I appreciate, because I've had dogs, I don't now. But people will come out and they walk down and then they release the dog. What I see is a coyote down in the creek who is going along keeping pace with the dog and occasionally making a dash. They don't get them usually, but I yell coyote and point, and sometimes they look at me and go like that. But the reality is the coyotes hang out in there and they're waiting. And when you let that dog off the leash,
I hate to say
well,
it, but
this
what
is
do you
another
expect?
thing that we need to make sure that dogs are always to be on a leash. That is Sun Lake's rules. So dogs cannot be just taken off your leash and let them roam wild. If you do see that, you can call Securitas. Securitas will come out. So I am telling everybody right now, if you see dogs off their leash, contact Securitas and let them know. They will come out and cite that person. It is a hazard for you. It's a hazard for the community. The dog could get run over not knowing that there's a car coming. So please, if you see something, please say something to Securitas and let them know, and they will come out and cite that person. It is our responsibility to do that. I saw somebody, oh, right here.
Well, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. We walk the dog at 11 o'clock at night because I don't want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I have friends that say, I won't go out after dark. But we've seen the coyotes, but they don't seem to come and see us. I mean, we see them, and then we turn around and walk the other way. But I'm not going to restrict my life because I'm maybe going to see an animal. We see skunks too, and you just have to. You have to go some other way. Yeah.
No, I agree with you completely. If you see a coyote, they do live here. Right. Just because you don't see them doesn't mean they're not there. If it's not aggressive, just like what you did, just walk on by. Maybe take its picture and share it with your neighbors. And if you have a skunk problem, I do have some skunk furs. Maybe the next time I come, I'll give a talk on skunks. Yeah.
The coyotes here can sometimes be very aggressive. They are not afraid of us. Mm-hmm. I was standing and I keep hearing, don't let your dog out unattended. Here, just being attended doesn't matter. I was standing 4 feet from my dog and an aggressive coyote came. I live on the golf course. And an aggressive coyote came, jumped, I was by the wall, jumped over that wall, grabbed my dog, and was gone. Mm-hmm. So fast. If you, even in your backyard, you have to have them on a leash. Yeah. Keep your dogs on a leash, even in your backyard.
Yeah, even in your backyard, absolutely.
It came up to me 3 feet.
Yeah. Yeah. Having a fenced area, you feel secure. But that coyote it could care less that fence is there. So keeping them on leash on your own property, Absolutely.
What's the rabies rate with the population of coyotes?
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't know. I have to find out. I would assume that they all carried some sort of diseases that our animals don't have. But as far as rabies, I don't know. I know that they do carry rabies. Possums do not, because possums' temperatures are too low to keep the virus in them. But so there are some wild animals that don't have rabies. I don't know what the rabies rate for coyotes are, but I would definitely keep my animals up to date on their rabies vaccine just in case, because there are raccoons, and I'm sorry, sometimes raccoons are more aggressive than coyotes. Raccoon, they're crazy. Cute, but crazy.
Okay, we're going to take 2 more questions.
I met a gentleman that had his dog taken on the leash. He had it on a leash, and it took the dog. So I don't know if it was a long leash, so we have to keep him close to us, too.
Yeah, and hold on to it, too. Hold on to your leash. I know sometimes when I walk, my thoughts go other places, and I'm not holding on to what I should be holding on to. So if you're not have a good grasp on it, yeah, you could drop it accidentally if you're scared by something.
Somebody was asking me a question. If you want a catio, you need to get that approved through the master board. You don't get to just put one in your yard. I'm assuming especially if you're on the golf course. Now, I don't know what happens, and you might want to contact the master board or admin and find out if you have a catio or you want to build one. You need to get approval if you are on the golf course. I do know that for sure, but I don't know if it's in your own backyard and it's fenced and you're not on the golf course. I don't know about that. So you would have to contact, maybe Jason Ewalls would know. Somebody had their hand raised. This is the last question, please.
We live at the bottom of Wailea Beach, and there's a small park area, some people call it the dog park, that's near us. But I want you to be aware that because we live right near that park, there are constantly coyote packs that come up behind our fence. And we can hear them attacking, and we can hear whatever animal is being attacked dying. They are very aggressive in that dog walking area. So if you are taking your dog out and you're thinking about letting your dog off the leash there, just know Desmond calls them the frat parties. And they get in there and there's 4, 5, 6 coyotes at a time that go in and attack them. That's why we have rabbits in the spring and we have no rabbits by summer. They go for the dogs then.
Thank you for sharing that
Thank you,
information,
Wendy.
especially where you guys live, where you know where the hot spots are. Hot spots, I guess. Communication is key, letting people know where you've seen them. Take pictures when you see them. Text them to your neighbors. Hey, there's a coyote 3 doors down, just so you know. Share it with your friends and neighbors that are here. That's so important.
So you actually have to contact the Master Architectural Committee, not the Master Board. It's the Master Architectural Committee. That's who you would contact if you want to have a catio in your backyard. So don't contact the Master Board. They've got enough on their minds. I just want to thank Heather for putting on this presentation.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Don't forget there's information up here that you can come and pick up. And our next presentation is going to be on February 6th, and it's going to be preparedness awareness. So that is on February 6th here in the ballroom from 1 to 3. And thank you very much for your participating today. Thank you.